Welcome back. In the last section, we had a look at the high-level reference architecture as well as getting a glimpse of the landing page here. Our next task is to look at building the landing page. And to do that, we had to do a few installs of, let's say, libraries, runtimes, and packages related to NPM, which is a Node Package Manager, to start the front-end UI design. So to begin with, we require a couple of packages here, and one of them would be the Node.js package, right? So if I head over to google.com and type Node.js install, right? So let's pick the first link here, and it'll essentially direct us to the corresponding installer for the operating system that we are working on. And in my case, since I'm working on a Windows system, it would be pointing me to the Windows installer. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this, and it'll start downloading the installer here on my machine. And since I've already done this, I will go ahead and cancel this. All right. So actually, let's go ahead and not cancel it. I'll allow it to complete. And once it completes, I'll go to the folder where it got downloaded. Generally, it gets downloaded here on your users download folder. So yeah, this is where it's going to be. Okay. So this is where it's going to be. So right now, I think it's still downloading here in the last stages of the download, I think. So once this is done, we just had to go ahead. Yeah, this is where it is right now. This is the download that I was referring to. So you can click on this, and it'll take you through some very highly intuitive steps, which is also quite self-explanatory. So let me drag it here. It actually landed on a different screen. So since I've already done this part, I will not go ahead and do that. And I will go ahead and cancel this process, because if I go start saying next on the next few steps, it'll start reinstalling that. I don't want that because I've already done this. So I will go ahead and cancel this. Okay. And say yes. All right. And then let's close this. All right. And so we have that installed right now. And the next step is to verify the install. Okay. So I'll head over to my terminal, and I'll say node minus version, and it displays the version here. All right, which means it's successfully installed. And sometimes it may so happen that if you're installing afresh, it might prompt you to actually restart your application to actually make sure the Node.js runtime is installed properly on your system. Okay, so now that this is done, you also need another utility form of NPM. NPM is Node Package Manager that actually gets shipped with Node.js. And we can confirm that by saying npm minus version on the console, and it actually lists a version here as well. So we have both of them installed right now. Okay. Another thing that we need, another package actually, which is also an npm package related to React, of course, that we need is something called Create React App. So let's head over to Google again. I will check for, or rather search for, Create React App. Okay, so Create React App. This is again an NPM package. So it'll allow us to essentially build up our project structure without breaking a sweat. It takes a lot of heavy lifting behind the scenes, and then it keeps all those things transparent to us. It allows us to move forward with the app design effortlessly and without breaking a sweat. All right. So if I go in here, it'll actually let me know how I can install it here. Here it is. I mean, this is after installation. Installation, we probably have to go at a different link. npm, I'll just say. All right. There we go. The second link. Yeah. So we're going to be using this particular command to install the Create React App. I'll go ahead and copy this. Go back to my terminal, cut and paste this. Okay, it didn't take it. So what I'm going to do is just say npm install create -react -app, and I will install it globally. Okay, which means it'll be available for all my React application build up. So let's go ahead and press enter. It'll take a few moments. In my case, it just went ahead and updated one of the packages. If you're installing afresh, it'll go the whole hog and do the complete installation the first time around. Okay, so now that we have the React app installed, we can go ahead and create our IndieCafe app, React app. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to type the following command: npx create -react -app and the name of the project. And in my case, it'll be fe_IndieCafe. Okay, so our project name is IndieCafe, so I'll just name the source code also by that name, right? Since this is going to be a front-end UI code, I'm going to prefix it as fe, right? And I'll say enter. Okay, so it's saying, I cannot use the uppercase here. I'll go ahead and change that. I think they should go through fine now. This is going to take a while, so I'll probably pause here, and then once it completes, I'll come back. Alright, it's finally finished. It took a couple of minutes. So right now it's saying core project structure is built, and what we can do is we can cd into that project folder, which is cd fe_IndieCafe, and I can essentially go here and then do a yarn start, or npm start is also fine. So yarn is another resource manager that people use while building React projects, right? So since I'm been using npm all along, I'll go ahead and use npm in this project. Let's open this project in our favorite code editor, which is going to be VS Code. And VS Code is a very nice code editor because it has a very rich ecosystem of extensions and utilities and stuff like that. And it's always getting improvements and new releases and new features. So that makes it very handy and very useful for rapid application development and testing. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this. I've already installed VS Code, and if you haven't done that, you can head over to Google, look for VS Code install, and you should be able to just go ahead and download and install that. Okay, so it is called VS Code install. Okay, and yeah, so just go through this link, and yeah, everything should be self-explanatory. You have installations for different operating systems, so based on the operating system that you're using to develop this app, you can choose the right installation. Okay, all right, so let's head over back to our terminal here. So I'll say code is essentially a short form for VS Code, code dot, and it'll open our project in VS Code here. Okay, I will just go ahead and then close this first getting started tab. Okay, and I'll also go ahead and open a new editor, a new terminal from inside here. You can do so by pressing Ctrl Shift and tilde, and that'll give us a PowerShell console window here. Okay, and in here I'm going to go ahead and start our application here, and what it's going to do is it'll start application that is actually built in to our Create React app. All right, so Create React app actually bundles a default or play around app, and which you override as we go forward, and which is what we'll be doing as well. So I will go ahead and start this project now. I think that's going to be on 3001. Okay, sure, go ahead. This is going to take a little while, so I'll probably stop here, pause here for a minute or so, and then come back. Alright, it's already started. It's actually started on 3001. Alright, and if you go in here, it'll actually say we have started on 3001. This is the built-in or app that's actually coming baked in with Create React app, right? So we need to go ahead and then remove this implementation and start our own implementation, right? So the way we can do it is, let's quickly go into fe_IndieCafe. I'll head over to src. I will get rid of a few files here, and some of them being the logo, the report web vitals.js, setup test.js. Let's go ahead and then remove them, get rid of the test.js, right? And inside here, I will go to the app.js. I will get rid of most of the JSX code in here, and I'll go ahead and get rid of the logo as well. And it's complaining right now about something here because we're referring that in here in index.js. Okay, let's get rid of some of the stuff here too, and this one as well. I think we got rid of index.css. Let's knock it down as well. I will get rid of the strict mode and go for the regular mode here. Introduce a comma. All right, so here we are. We don't have anything right now. We got rid of the application that actually got bundled along with our Create React app. So right now it doesn't do anything. So let's go ahead and introduce something here. So what I'm going to do is I'll introduce an H2, and I will say hello React world. So let's see what we see here. And if I go back to the browser, I should be able to see this. All right. So going forward, what we can do is I'll just be making the window half the size of the screen. So I'll be running this browser window on one side of the screen, and I will be having the editor open on the other half. Okay, so like so. And what will allow us to do is, as we code, we'll also get to see the changes happen. So for example, if I introduce a couple more exclamation here and save, it gets reflected here immediately. Okay, and so that's going to be something that we want to be doing as we move forward. And so this is our base React app structure. And what we'll also do is, before we wind up, I will go ahead and get rid of some of these other files as well. I'll go ahead and get rid of this. Move to recycle, this one as well, the logo. All right. Okay. And I go to index.html. There is a lot of commented code in there. I will go ahead and get rid of that as well, and just to give it a clean look. And I will also rename this to, let's say, Indie Cafe Food App. Okay, super. So straight away it gets reflected here. Okay, so let's take a pause here. We made a fair amount of progress in terms of essentially setting up our base project, right? We will build on top of this as we go along, and the next step for us would be to start looking at how we build the landing page, and how we deconstruct that in terms of what are the building blocks, and how we essentially group them together to set up a layout, and then use that layout to build our landing page. So the first few sessions will be very rudimentary in terms of setting up the building blocks that we'll be using through the entirety of this project. It might sound a little tedious upfront, but trust me, once you do that, your app design or the component design becomes a breeze. All right, so let's take a pause here. I'll come back and continue with the building up of our building blocks.